Hey Hylians! Two things I really missed within Breath of the Wild were the inclusion of both caves and classic dungeons. Within trailers for Tears of the Kingdom, we have been able to see from the very start that caves would be returning, and wow, they look great. It seems the caves will be much larger than what we've seen in the series before, likely stretching all across the underside of Hyrule. But when it comes to dungeons, there's yet to be really any sign of classic dungeons returning. I'm still hoping for them to come back, and in a way very much like the original game, with them being hidden underground, along with some being hidden in the new sky area. And I think the best way to do this is by integrating them with caves, having them connected to particular cave entrances or having the cave tunnels lead into specific dungeons. And today I want to go over some locations from Breath of the Wild that I feel could be hiding entrances to underground caves or even dungeons within Tears of the Kingdom. Let's start with a favourite location of mine, the Forgotten Temple. From the moment I found this place, I was extremely intrigued by it. The name alone brought up so many questions. Within the temple you can find a bunch of active guardians that will almost instantly start attacking you. When you make your way past them to the very back of the temple, you'll find a Sheikah shrine and a large statue of the goddess Hylia. The largest one you can actually find in the game, even bigger than the one at the Temple of Time. There's definitely a lot going on here that adds to the mystery of the place, and it makes me feel that there could be even more hidden in an underground area of the temple. Looking at the temple from the outside, it looks as if we enter through an upper entrance. And looking closer to the ground, you can see what looks to be the wall of the building heading underground, and another possible entrance being covered. There are also lots of holes in the temple that shoot up air, maybe hinting at an underground area beneath what we actually explore. With this temple already being in such a low area of Hyrule, it could be that at some point this temple was even underground, but over time the area above fell away, revealing its location. We can definitely tell, even with how mysterious this temple still is, that it is important. From the giant statue of Hylia inside, to this even being where we get the classic Link tunic once completing all the shrines. A temple once dedicated to the heroes of the past, watched over by the goddess herself. I'm sure there's more secrets hidden in this place, and adding an underground lower level would definitely be a cool way to expand the lore of this location. One of the most mysterious locations in all of Breath of the Wild is the statue of the 8th heroine, a huge stone statue found against a wall of a cliff in the Gerudo Highlands. This alone is strange enough, but within the Gerudo Desert itself, we have the East Gerudo Ruins, a location where 7 more of these statues can be found in a circle, with a space between 2 of them which would perfectly fit this mysterious 8th. When I first found this location, I was stunned. It was so strange. The pathway leading up to it made me feel that at least at some point in time it was regularly visited. The fact that the statue's sword is also missing and found in another part of the mountain is also strange. With how out of place this statue is, I've always thought there was more hidden to it. Looking around the edge of the statue, it looks as if it's been pushed up against the wall. Looking closely, you can even see the part between the wall of the mountain and the back of the statue. I had an idea when playing Breath of the Wild for the first time, long before Tears of the Kingdom had even been thought about, that at some point in the game, maybe tied to a side quest, something would cause this giant statue to fall forward, revealing it had been used to block a large entrance to an underground cave or dungeon. And now that we have caves in Tears of the Kingdom, I would love to see that idea fully come true. It would also add questions as to why this was blocked off to start with. Perhaps within this cave could be found an extremely hard boss that was once sealed away and now you've woken up and have to fight. Or perhaps it could be an entrance to a dungeon, a long lost dungeon or temple connected to the Gerudo people or even Ganondorf, hiding deep below the mountain, once visited but now forgotten. Sticking around the Gerudo, what about Arbiters Grounds? This location first appeared within Twilight Princess and was a huge creepy dungeon full of the undead. the place Ganondorf was set to be executed within before that failed and he was sealed within the Twilight realm. It's an important location to that game, but when we find it in Breath of the Wild, there's almost nothing there. Only the ruins of what once was. It makes sense, saying Breath of the Wild takes place an extremely long time after Twilight Princess, or the time it would have taken place around, but to see it completely gone is sad. Within the newest trailer for the game, we did get a quick shot, which looking at for far too long, I've realised shows a horde of Molduga, making their way through the grasslands close to the desert. What if something happened within the Gerudo desert, like a giant sinkhole opening up, making those monsters and even the Gerudo need to flee from the desert? The sinkhole could come from the now ruined Arbiters Grounds, opening up the location once again, and allowing us to now explore the even more creepy location full of re-deads and style monsters. A place hidden for centuries, full of the undead. Though this idea could also work with really any of the ruins in the desert. I think a giant sinkhole opening up in the desert, revealing old caves and maybe even dungeons, would be a really cool idea to explore in the game. The highest point of the Hebra Mountains is the Hebra Peak. At first a pretty normal looking location on the side of the mountain. Snow, some monsters, a shrine, not too different from the rest of the mountainside. But that's till you realise that almost all of the side of the mountain here is completely covered in ice. Almost as if the top of the mountain itself is just one giant ice cube. This isn't really seen in other places on the mountain or even other snowy regions of Hyrule. You can't walk up it, you can't climb it, this ice makes it incredibly difficult to get any higher. Being at the very top of the mountain, I could very well see if this ice somehow melted, a large tunnel going down the inside of the mountain, ice monsters being found within. In the last trailer for the game, we could see the snowy area of the Great Plateau no longer had snow on it, as if it had all melted. At the moment we don't know why it's melted, but if the snow has melted here, maybe other locations that are entirely covered in snow could also be melting. It would be really cool to see all of the Hebra mountain area completely unfrozen and now covered in grass and trees. There's even been a bit of talk online about the mountain looking different, so maybe something like this could have happened. Hebra Peak is a pretty random location. It's not as visually memorable to some of the others on this list, but with the large amount of ice at the very top, not seen anywhere else, it makes it a pretty interesting place to me. And if that ice melted, I could see it being a really interesting place for a new cave location, having the cave twist and turn all the way down through the inside of the mountain. It could even have a snowy, icy theming, or even a water theming, as all of the ice would have melted. Nevertheless, I think you could do some very cool things with a cave or dungeon in that area. Pun intended. Skull Lake is a location that is sure to get your attention just from the map alone, as well, it's a giant skull. Surprisingly though, with how easy it is to find, there really isn't that much to do there. There is a shrine at the top of one of the eyes, and you can find Kilton there for the first time, but apart from that, there really isn't anything else. You can't even find monsters in or around the lake. But even with all that, this location has stuck with me since my first time finding it, and that's because of how eerie I've always found this location. Looking into the lake itself, you can easily see tons of giant purple flowers growing up from deep within the darkness of the lake. These flowers are not found anywhere else in Hyrule, and they even have a slight purple glow to them which makes them feel even more unnatural. As I mentioned, they grow up out of the darkness of Skull Lake. This lake is clearly extremely deep, and so these flowers are clearly very, very tall. I think this location would be perfect for an underground entrance in Tears of the Kingdom. Like my idea for Arbiters Grounds, I can see the water somehow getting removed from the lake, maybe seeping down into another underground cave, and this gives us access to the inside of the lake and what lies within. The giant flowers found around the lake could even work as perfect platforms to jump down on, slowly working your way deeper into the depths. Within the latest trailer, we did see an underground area with large mushroom-like plants and trees, so I could see other plants like flowers growing to great sizes. As I mentioned, this location has always stuck with me because of how eerie I found it, and like the statue of the 8th, it's a place that I always thought was hiding more to it, more that we couldn't see. And so turning Skull Lake into an entrance to the underground of Hyrule, or even some creepy combination of a water dungeon and a shadow dungeon, would in my eyes be perfect for this recognisable yet underutilised area of Hyrule. So those are my ideas for some locations from Breath of the Wild that I feel would be perfect locations for newly revealed dungeons and caves in Tears of the Kingdom. Like I've said many times throughout this video, these are all locations I feel just had more to them. Places that I feel were hiding something that we couldn't yet see. And places that I feel in a more traditional Zelda game would have had more importance, whether that be to the story or perhaps being locations for dungeons. So it would be awesome to see these places get a bit more time in the spotlight in Tears of the Kingdom, by being upgraded from cool landmarks to full-on new areas. But what do you think of the locations I picked? Do you like the ideas that I gave for them, and are there any other locations in Breath of the Wild's Hyrule that you would love to see upgraded and changed for Tears of the Kingdom? Give me all of your ideas and thoughts down below in the comments, as I always love to read them. Thank you all for watching all the way to the very end of today's video. It really means a lot that you stayed for the full thing, as I put a lot of work and care into these videos I create. If you've enjoyed the video, please give it a like, as they're the quickest and easiest way to show me you are enjoying the content I make. And if you're new to my channel, why not subscribe? I make videos focusing on all types of Legend of Zelda content, so I'm sure there'll be something I make that you'll enjoy. Thank you all again for watching today's video. I hope you've all enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye!